Hello, my fellow flawless, limitless, sexy, sassy, saucy HBICs. How are you on this lovely morning, afternoon, or evening? How are you all? I hope you are all doing fabulous. I am recording this on Monday. It is the day of the eclipse. So I will warn you ahead of time before I jump in. There is lots of traffic where I live. I live out in the country, so the fact that I've got a lot of traffic outside of the normal traffic is because people are trying to head, I'm not good with my directions, where you can watch the full totality of the eclipse. So I got traffic and I am washing laundry today. So the washer and dryer going. On top of my special guest, Poop, who is always interested in what I'm talking about and is doing her best to snore her balls off. So if you're new here, how you doing? I'm Kimberly, and I am obsessed with getting what I want. Hence my obsession with mastering manifestation so that I can get what I want. And a part of that obsession is I don't want to wait a long time. I want it to happen quickly, right? So if that's your kind of thinking and you want to figure out how to get whatever it is that you are manifesting here in a quick amount of time, then subscribe and come back and see me and we can be friends. And please, if you could, let me know that you subscribed. I love getting to interact with my especially my newbies, because you're new here. We've got to build our friendship, right? However, YouTube doesn't always tell me. YouTube just gives me the upwards number, right? The number going up. I don't always get told. So please let me know you're here, okay? Also, I believe this video will be powerful. I believe this video is a powerful one today. So I would appreciate if you would give this video a thumbs up, a like, so it can get out there and be seen by those who need to hear today's message. Also, shout out to my girl Bella, because Bella is what inspired this video per se, because she was sharing with me this morning the book she's reading. And I'm like, how the hell did I not know that this book existed? And it's from Napoleon Hill. And it's a book regarding outwitting the devil. Yes, I know, folks. Some of you out there I know don't believe in God, so you definitely don't believe in a devil. And that's fine. We can use wording that can benefit you as well. You don't need to believe in all of that. If you don't, I get it. Everybody's got their own opinion on how our life works. Great. But you're obviously interested in manifestation, so you're still going to get something out of this video, okay? So yes, this book, Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. I have already soared through the first, I'm 4 chapters. I'm starting the 5th chapter now. Wow, this book is powerful. And if you might have heard of Napoleon Hill, you know, the Think and Grow Rich guy, okay? Listen, before I go any further, let me just say to any of you who want to work with me, all of that information is in the drop box below. Any way to hook up with me, drop box below, okay? For those of you that do believe in God and have been raised with some kind of religiousness, I was raised Catholic. I'm comfortably letting you know, obviously, I am no longer Catholic. I am me. I have my own relationship with the I am. I encourage you all to build your own relationship with your I amness, whether you believe there is nothing more than your subconscious mind that is projecting out into your world. That's great. You're still going to get something out of today. The God/devil, the two forces that most of us have started our early years learning about, are not what we have been taught. I was taught that, you know, God is like Gandalf standing on a mountain, and he's a vengeful, angry God, and you were going to be in trouble if you didn't, you know, hold to all of his commandments. And then you were going to get sent to hell and live with the two-horned, with his pitchfork devil. The evil devil that's always lurking around the corner, or gonna show up and take over someone like the freaking Exorcist. Okay? That's where my early years were. I no longer believe any of that. I'm hoping if you're watching this video, you don't believe in that anymore either. But if you do, let me help you. The devil also has access to your mind, along with the I am. And I'm using that phrase loosely, as in doubt, fear. And as Napoleon discusses in this book, and this book is powerful, we have choices, we have control, per se, over our mind. And I've said this in countless videos, you're in control of what you do with your thoughts. But the thoughts that just pop up, the thoughts that just come in, they're just opportunities, right, to other realities. Sometimes we get thoughts that are totally based in fear. And for a large portion of us, before we have our awakening, we believe those thoughts because they are easy for us to believe. And that has everything to do with our conditioning, because we are taught from day one, to not be independent, free thinkers. Now, granted, some of you may have been raised to be independent thinkers. I am grateful that I was. However, that doesn't mean that, we'll use me as the example, that just because I was raised that it's okay to question things and to think freely, to ask questions, to not believe everything you hear. That's how I was raised. So I'm friggin' so grateful for that. If you weren't that person and you're just coming into this now, stepping out of the box and learning to think for yourself, I'm so happy that you are now awake to that, first of all. But second of all, it's important. Because all everything that manifestation encompasses, it questions a lot of what we were taught over our years growing up. And it really doesn't matter when you were born. I'm sure you were taught some stuff around spirituality of some kind. If you believe in God, the devil, can't you see that the devil would be based in fear? And for some of us, gripping fear. And do you see how doubt keeps us from thinking for ourselves and choosing the desired version of ourselves? So some of you are manifesting money. Some of you are manifesting love, a specific person. Some of you are manifesting health, change of appearance, all the things. And I'm sure you've had several doubtful, opposing, fear-based thoughts, not only over what you're manifesting, but more than likely over manifestation itself. Like, you're an idiot to believe that you can just manifest anything you want. You're foolish for believing in this manifestation thing. You're delusional. You need to face reality and just accept what is and give up on your dreams. Because history, maybe history in your family, maybe history in the friendships, or history in, the who raised you, has shown you that people don't get what they want and they have to accept what life feeds them. Some of us in our early years faced trauma, and that's a whole other realm of fear, right? Not everybody had the perfect upbringing. Quite frankly, I don't think anybody had a perfect upbringing. I don't think that. And the reason why is not from a negative place, but it's because of conditioning. And I've talked about conditioning since forever on this channel. And when we are choosing to think outside of the box and entertain the idea of, I want to manifest whatever it is you're manifesting. I want that. And I don't want to give up on it. And maybe our life experiences have shown us that we never got what we wanted in that category. So maybe you, your family, your friends have always been, say, low income. Maybe you've always been hurt in love. Maybe you learned through experience that if you're into men, well, men have all, they've all broken your heart. You've been cheated on, dumped, all the things. And, it was the same thing with women. Maybe that's been your experience with women. So maybe what it is you're manifesting, you've got no one in your, direct life to look at and emulate. And emulate from the place of looking to see, hey, has anybody achieved what they really wanted? Maybe you don't have anybody to think of, and that's okay. This is me, I hope, reaching in to show you, you don't need anyone in the 3D to have been the one that did it in order for you to get it. You need to start thinking for yourself and realize that when doubtful, fearful thoughts come in our mind, they are not truth. Just because you've had shit life experiences, they are not truth. We have been taught since the moment we entered this planet, I can't say it enough, that don't think for yourself. Think about kids in school. When the preschoolers, kindergartners, man, they're ready to raise their hand. They're ready to be seen. They want to ask questions. Again, and this depends on how they were raised up until this point, of course, but I'm saying in general. And by the time they're high schoolers, that same group of kids who were free thinking, unafraid, they didn't have the conditioning of flaws yet. By the time they hit high school, you got no one wanting to answer questions. Like I said, I'm talking general here, but you can see the gradual change. And the 3D people will blame that all on puberty. But it's more than just that. It's fear, afraid of being embarrassed, afraid of saying the wrong answer. That's conditioning. And a lot of us have been conditioned that, money only comes to certain types of people. The rich keep getting richer. The poor stay poor. Love isn't easy. Love is hard. We've all heard all sorts of phrases like that in our entire existence. And from that conditioning, we build the habits of being a particular version of ourselves. And we feel comfortable in those habits. It feels safe to continue those habits. So you become a drifter, as Napoleon Hill uses that phrase in the book, a drifter. Someone who just lets their mind run amok. Someone who believes the lies, the fearful thoughts that come in. And therefore then, because now we know better, continue manifesting shit experiences that only validate and solidify those shitty, doubtful thoughts. So they just become easier and easier and easier from habit to believe. Because now you got experiences to validate them. My message today is, can't you look through your life and see how that has probably been true for you? And the thing that you're manifesting right now, even if it's a person, even if it's money, health, whatever, it's more than likely a fearful, negative, doubtful thought that has come into your mind, probably more than once, that has seemingly kept that thing away from you. I get questioned all the time, Kim, It's so easy for me to manifest in this category, but this one category. Well, what is your thinking in those other categories versus this main one? One of the fearful concepts we hear is, well, some things just aren't meant to be. Maybe that person just isn't good for you. Okay, you can't always get what you want. That is not true. But that's an easy saying to believe, especially if you have life experiences to validate the shitty belief. It's on repeat. It's a constant cycle. And until you break the habit of being a version of yourself who believes that bullshit, you keep on the cycle and you keep experiencing letdown after letdown, disappointment after disappointment. And I am here to tell you, you experiencing those things was never because God was saying you can't have it. It's not meant to be. It's not a part of my will. It's none of the things we've learned. It's because that's been your dominant story that feels safest to you. Even though I know in this moment when you're hearing that, you're like, but that doesn't feel safe to me. But doesn't it? Then why has it been so easy to believe? Think about how many times you've caught yourself in the middle of thinking a string of shitty thoughts surrounding what you're manifesting. How many times has that happened to you? I know how many times that has happened to me over my awakened years. Quite a lot. This is how the devil keeps us from our desires, per se. Again, I'm using these words loosely. I'm not trying to say you're all possessed by the devil. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying heaven and hell is already here. Heaven and hell is in your mind. Hell is fear. Heaven is love. And all thoughts, every single one of them, is based in one or the other. What we never have to punish ourselves for are the thoughts that just pop in our mind. I've said that over and over again. You don't have to be afraid of the thoughts that come in. You just have to be an independent thinker to know when to pay attention to thoughts and when to just let them float by. Or if it feels better in the moment, to tell that thought off. Some of us like to do that, and that's okay. Whatever feels good to you. Some of you right now watching this video, probably for the last 10 minutes before this video even started, you were believing the doubtful thoughts about your manifestation. Some of you skip around to video to video to video. But when the videos aren't playing, you go right back to drifting. You go right back to your old thinking and believing the doubts and the fears. This video is not to tell you to start battling your thoughts. This video is to say, wake up. Wake up. How did I manifest my relationship and this particular version of my person? When the 3D was telling me a completely different story, I started entertaining the thoughts that I was a new version of myself. And yes, thoughts came in immediately telling me, no, you're not, bitch. No, you're not. You don't have that. That's not your 3D reality. I had the thoughts, the shit thoughts too. But I will tell you, I didn't give up. I kept choosing new self. If you're new to my channel, whenever you hear me say new self, I am referring to the version of you who has what you're manifesting. So you already have it. That is new self. This is the self that doesn't have any of the limited beliefs around what it is you're manifesting. I had the independent thinking. I had the knowledge, the intelligence behind manifestation to know better, to not give up on what I want. So I'm going to keep returning to my decision that I am claiming I am my new self. And with that repetition, I started actually believing it. And life changed. My message isn't to say you can't manifest anything until you believe it. The message is stop giving up. Understand that negative, doubtful, opposing, fearful thoughts are just that. Doubt. If you believe in God, that is the devil. If you don't, that is your opportunity to another reality. That is signals, we'll say, from your limited beliefs. It's habit. This is why I say manifestation really is decision and habit breaking, as in deciding who you want to be and begin telling yourself that that's who you are. And that, listen, that can also be done through visualizing. Affirming, visualizing, scripting, inner conversations, all of it is getting you to utilize your imagination. And imagination is your God connection, as Neville would say. The reason why also that I'm honing in on the thinking, being a free thinker, being an independent thinker, because a lot of us won't attempt to even entertain the idea of thinking new thoughts or stepping in and believing we are a new version of ourselves until 3D life slaps us in the face. I didn't become someone who was interested in finding out how to change my lot in life until life was terrible. That's when I had to start changing my gears and start searching for a knowledge that honestly I kind of always knew was there. And I'm sure most of you can agree, when you found manifestation, there was always a little kind of a spark there, a little something like a knowing, like you've always known that this is how life really works. You've been given the free will to think whatever you want, believe whatever you want, decide you are what version of yourself you are, believe you are the same identity your whole life. You've been given the free will. God, your I amness, higher power, source energy, moonbeams, whatever, isn't going to force itself on you. You have the free will over who you are. I'm not talking about what your life looks like. I'm talking about who you really believe you are. Not what experience has said. I'm telling you now, who you believe you are is the answer to your problems. All of them. Whatever you're manifesting, the answer to you getting it is who you believe you are. Simple as that. But because of habit, because of fear, we listen to doubts. We believe them. Really quickly, I want you to hear something. Napoleon Hill, in the beginning, within the first chapter, is giving you background before we get into the depths of what this book is about. And this was when Napoleon was coming into his own and building the relationship with his I amness. So he was coming out of a depressive time in his life where he was listening to doubtful thoughts. Okay? And he started receiving inspired action, which were clear, concise thoughts that he listened to. Some of us avoid them from fear, just saying. So he was on a mission. This was to get his book published. So he went on, a trip to Philadelphia and needed to stay in a hotel room, and he didn't have enough money to spend a long time at this place, but he was taking inspired action because he was believing and trusting that what he wanted would be given to him, manifested. I started to estimate what my hotel bill would be by the end of the week when my other self commanded me to get my mind entirely off of all thoughts of limitation and to conduct myself for the time being just as I would if I had all the money I wanted in my pockets. The experience I was passing through was both new and strange to me. I had never posed as being anything other than what I believed myself to be. The instructions, the other self was giving instructions. The other self was his I amness. God, higher power, source energy, subconscious, whatever you want to call it. He was calling it the other self. And the other self in the connection to the universal mind, okay, consciousness. The instructions were given through the medium of thoughts, which presented themselves in my mind with such force that they were readily distinguishable from my ordinary self-created thoughts. Hill was taking on the identity of a wealthy man. He was taking on the identity of the version of himself who had money, who believed he had enough money and more in surplus. Do you see what I'm saying? He was taking on the identity. Just as I tell you in my videos, whatever it is you're manifesting, step into that version of yourself. Some of you ask the question, I've never experienced this before. I don't know what it feels like to be this person. Have you ever seen a fucking movie? Have you ever watched a TV show? If you're manifesting new love, have you never seen a movie of someone getting into a relationship? You have an idea. You do. The answers are always within you. It doesn't matter if you've never had it before. It doesn't. That's doubt talking. That's fear talking. You want what you want because you think it's going to give you a feeling. Happiness, joy, excitement. So carry yourself with the knowledge that you already have it. Identify as already having it. You don't got to do anything out here in the 3D, but it's allow yourself to think, yes, I'm already that person. See what I'm saying? So Napoleon, as like I said, he was coming into understanding this other self. And I know that sounds crazy, but the other self as in whatever you personally believe in, universe, God. My instructions began in this fashion. You are now completely in charge of your other self. You are entitled to know that two entities occupy your body, as in fact, two similar entities occupy the body of each living person on earth. One of these entities is motivated and responds to the impulse of fear. The other is motivated by and responds to the impulse of faith. For more than a year, you have been driven like a slave by the fear entity. Night before last, the faith entity gained control over your physical body, and you are now motivated by that entity. For the sake of convenience, you may call this faith entity your other self. It knows no limitations, has no fears, and recognizes no such word as impossible. That is your inner higher self, whatever you feel comfortable calling it. You can't mess this up. I've said it before, you can't do anything in the 3D to ruin a manifestation. Your only job is to start identifying as your new self. And saying your affirmations is you having the intention to be that new self. So it doesn't matter what technique you love to do. Robotic affirming, visualizing in sats only, scripting, it doesn't matter. They're all leading you to self, new self. But when you're not doing your techniques, I'm telling you, those doubtful, negative, fearful thoughts, I want you to see them as you are no longer allowing them to control you, because they have been. They have been for most of us. They're just thoughts. Most of us believe that those thoughts are actually our own. No, they're not. If you don't believe in God, the devil, you are more of a science-only kind of person, then think of them as, if you believe in multiple realities, they're opportunities to other realities, other versions of yourself, living that life of doubt and fear. Or you can look at it as it is your subconscious mind throwing thoughts at you from your limited beliefs, from your programming. What I'm trying to say is you are more powerful than anything. And thoughts are just thoughts. They don't have to control you anymore. They're just thoughts. They're just thoughts. They have power when you give them the power. Why does most of the world not live the life they would prefer? Because they are controlled by their doubt. They are controlled by their doubtful, negative, fearful thoughts, unfortunately. And we all know what happens there. We start manifesting, and they're manifesting unconsciously. They're manifesting shit experiences that then only validate those thoughts, and they stay in the unfortunate cycle of disappointment, indifference, boredom. Don't get me wrong, sometimes indifference can be a friend, especially when we are trying to drop a story with, whatever it is we're manifesting. But we all know the life of mundane unhappiness, depression. I could go on. This is you making a conscious decision to not allow thoughts to control you. It's your decision every day to be your new self. With that decision, you're gonna experience what you want. And if you know that you're starting your day every day, or at some point during your day, you are choosing, I am my new self. I'm not giving up on what I want. I am becoming that self. Everything you're experiencing is leading you to it. But for those of you that are still listening to the doubt, stop letting that control you. It doesn't matter what life experience has shown you. You're breaking the habit of living that life. You're breaking that habit. You're not watching this content for the hell of it. You're watching this content because you want what you want, and you can have it. So be that free, independent thinker that I know you naturally are, and start stepping in to your new self. And you can be rest assured you will end up with what you want. Just saying. So on that note, I'll see you tomorrow, and enjoy the eclipse if you're going to watch it.